Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I hope that this month is treating you good, this week is treating you good. I hope that you are just good, whether you are a new listener or you are a long-time listener. I hope, inshallah, this episode can help you in some way. So today's episode is going to share a bunch of random habits that I have picked up or that I'm trying to pick up, and just stuff that I love that I think might be useful to share just in general for anybody, everybody. So I know that around this time of year and this month, and just, people are trying to become better people and change your habits. But even outside of this time, when you are just trying to become a better person, or you just want to find something new, or you're trying to replace a bad habit with a new one, I feel like these are very versatile, and they range from very different things, from religious things to just life things to just things about how you carry yourself. So inshallah, in this episode, I hope that we can wind down and share some random habits that I hope you will benefit from as well, inshallah. So the very first thing, inshallah, that I'm going to try to share is in regards to charity. Of course, if you do not give charity, make sure you give charity. And if you do give charity, here's what I think might be really interesting for you to try. Sounds easier said than done for a lot of people, and for some people it is easy, but it is something that I think you should practice. So a lot of times when we give charity, we have a set amount in our mind that we are going to give, whether it's because we have those recurring websites set up with our bank accounts and whatever, or you just give a certain amount every Friday, or just in general you have a certain amount that you give, right? I want you to take that amount, and whatever it is, just add a little bit more on top. My mom always says this thing, and she always tells us that the money in your bank account, the money in your savings or whatever, it is just protection, and it's just a comforting thought. Because tonight when you sleep, you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. You ate what you were supposed to eat. You've lived whatever you were supposed to live. You've done whatever you're supposed to do. You've lived out your rizq for today, right? So that money in your bank account is just comfort. That's it. It's just comfort. And of course, you're lucky enough to have that comfort, because for some people, they go to bed at night panicked because they don't know how tomorrow's going to work out if they do wake up. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you enough with that comforting thought that tomorrow, when you wake up, you know that you have something there for you, right? But majority case, you don't even know if you're going to be alive tomorrow. You don't know if that's going to be yours tomorrow. And you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? You don't know if you're going to be here. So that money that's just kind of sitting there, it's just kind of sitting there. It's just protection. It's just a comforting thought in the night. If I bought something today for a certain amount of money and I ate whatever I ate today, that's it. That's what I was meant to live today. Everything else is just there, and I don't even know if that's going to be mine tomorrow, right? So when you give in the way of Allah, give generously, and that doesn't mean that you have to give grand amount. It's just force your nafs a little bit last minute to double that amount or put a little bit more on top, and that will honestly help you kind of grow out of this set routine of giving just an X amount money in the way of Allah. There's nothing wrong with that, and you should do that if you don't do it already. But again, sometimes when you're just at the masajid and you're about to give money, just add a little bit more on top, and it's something that I feel like it's a beautiful habit, and as a whole, it's something that really forces your nafs to kind of let go a little bit and do more for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. And like always, giving money from this world is just transferring it to your akhirat bank account, and it's going to a way better place, I can tell you that. I feel like you should never regret donating money or feeling like, it makes you poor or less than. A lot of people struggle to give charity because they're like, oh, the wealth is going away from me. If anything, you are just doing better for yourself in this life and the next, and I think you're multiplying and helping yourself. So given the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will feel yourself getting lighter. The way that I also see it is look, my needs are met, alhamdulillah, right? A lot of times your needs are met. I know you might not think that they are. I know you might think that no, they're not met, Hera, because I still want this, I still want this, I still have to get this, and I still need this, and I still want this house, and I still want this car. I know. A lot of times we all have a bunch of wants and but your needs are still met, right? Your needs are still met. You're still okay. You still have a home, you still have a bed, you still have food, you have a place to live, you have your family, you have clean water, you have everything still. Your needs are met. So give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those that don't have their needs met, inshallah. You have a bunch of wants, and I know that sometimes your wants feel like desperate needs, and I need this thing, I know. All the girlies have been there sometimes when you're looking at certain stuff and you're like, I need needs, but you don't really need it, right? And I feel like coming out of that mindset, I know a lot of girls girls are more guilty of this than anything, where they're just I need this. And a lot of times, no, babes, you do not need, the 14th shade of that blush that looks the same like the other one. I'm just saying the truth, okay? And I feel like coming out of that mentality, I know that a lot of girls do tend to have some retail therapy problems. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not attacking. But I feel like one of the things is just ask yourself, like, do I need it? It's okay to reward yourself now and then and buy like something for yourself. Why not? Like, we all do it. But like, remember that like your needs are met essentially. So don't be stingy when giving in the way of Allah. So the second habit, like I said, this is just a bunch of random mixed stuff that I think would be cool to share. This is something that I have talked about before, but I want to emphasize, especially this time of the year. And it's so insane because I knew I was going to mention this one. I already had it mentally in my list of the stuff that I was going to share in this EP. And then somebody DM'd me yesterday. Literally, yesterday evening, while I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I'm going to mention this in the EP. They DM'd me saying this. This is a listener in the UK that has like listened to every single one of my episodes, I'm pretty sure, and they've came up with a lot of my episode ideas. And they said, I cannot lie, one thing I think would be so helpful would be to talk about free mixing and just staying away from fitna, the way that it is so easy in school and just stuff in general. It can start stuff with the opposite gender so easy, and as someone who wants to stay away but sees people doing it, the fitna is crazy. I know how bad it is too, but listen to this. And they sent me like a YouTube link about talking about it, and then they were like, inshallah this helps, whatever, and they're just mentioning some stuff about that YouTube link. And I was like, oh my goodness, because I swear, like, me and my audience were connected because I already came up with this and I knew I was going to talk about this in this EP, like, a while ago. And then I was really finalizing it yesterday evening, and then I got that DM and I was like, okay, that's it. Halas is getting talked about. This time of the year, a lot of people, in general, as a whole, just generally, people tend to cut out free mixing if they are used to doing it, and they tend to avoid it. And if you're not someone who avoids it, I highly encourage you to do so. And if you are somebody who generally struggles, I encourage you to try your best to stop. Free mixing is seen in lots of different ways, and I understand, I'm going to preface this, each to their own, right? Some people don't see this as a world crisis deal. Here is my breakdown, okay? Just hang tight. We're going to get into this. Each to their own, I'm saying my opinion. Some people say, well, I'm a good Muslim and I have my boundaries and I'm fine. So like I can go to these places that might have free mixing or that might have something going on because I'm a good Muslim and I have those boundaries, so I will be fine. I'm not a child. Good. I'm happy to hear that. But the thing is, in my opinion, this is how I see it, don't put yourself in those positions when it's not need be. Don't put yourself in those positions where you have to put up that boundary, where you have to put up that barrier with the opposite gender or whatever, like, unless it's not necessary, something required. Like, don't go to those places that require you to do that because you think that you are all tough and strong and big and bad until one day you fail with your boundary. So I'm going to leave you with a thought that I think hopefully, inshallah, can get something running. I talk about this a lot with my friends, and I'm very passionate about this because I think that it makes sense in my mind. Look, between a Muslim man and a Muslim woman, there's a certain level of awkwardness, ice, barriers, right? The thing here is this. A lot of times, society and generally just how you see things are, you'll feel a need to break that ice. Don't. The ice is there for a reason. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't let me see you do that. Don't break that ice. Don't do it. Let me tell you something. A lot of times people are, and it's natural. Like when I'm with a girl, I generally do feel the need to break the ice. And it's okay to break the ice with a girl. Go ahead. That's how I've made most of all of my closest friends. You break the ice and you talk. There's nothing wrong with breaking that ice with a girl. Okay, nothing. Become friends with her. Go out, whatever. But when we are talking about a Muslim man and a Muslim woman, that ice, leave it there. Leave it there. There's no need to break that ice. None. At all. The ice is there for a reason. Those barriers, those things, they're there for a reason. Okay? There's no need to break it. And for me, mentally, the way that I also see it is like this. I understand that people also say, oh, well, I'm not a child. I know how to control myself. I don't free mix. Even if I'm at a free mixing event, I know how to stay to myself and just be with, people that are be just with the girls or be just with the boys. Like, I know how to stay in my own lane, and I get that. But at the same time, this is how I see it. If there's not a dire, desperate need, like, you don't have to go, and it's not required, don't go. I've been reading so much about free mixing, and there's so many interesting things that so many of the pious predecessors and the people that just came before us have talked about in regards to this. It's like, we say it in a very simple term of XYZ, this opens up the door of fitna, and you should stay away, and it's not good, and you don't lower you're gays or whatever, even if you think that you're not attracted to somebody, like you just spend hours breaking ice with people that you shouldn't necessarily, even if you don't have any emotions or feelings toward them, even if it's quote no feelings, it's just there's no need for you to be doing it. And when you know that in actuality there's not a desperate dire work, like there's not that, it's not like a work thing, like it's not a need for you to be there, then it's kind of like you're putting yourself there, and in my eyes it's just not needed. And I highly encourage a lot of people to just try that, because I know that a lot of times, none of us are perfect, by the way, we all mess up, when we all have times where we kind of compromised or we saw different and whatever, and it's, none of us are perfect. I'm just generally saying some things, and I'm not saying I'm perfect either, but it's just something that I feel like if there's not a need, I don't like, it's not a work thing, even then, like it's not a need, like then don't go. That's just it. That's just how I see it. And I feel like overall you're making like this sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that inshallah you'll get rewarded for. Again, each to their own. I know some people say that it's not that big of a deal because, like I know how to stay in my lane, or they're just there, I'm not talking to them, but it's like, just don't put yourself in those circumstances. And the other way that I also perceive it, for me personally, again, each to their own, you don't have to agree. Personally for me, I feel like, okay, this is just my personal standard, okay? I wouldn't want to get married to somebody who free mixes or goes those things. I'm not comfortable with it, and that's just me, right? So I'm not going to do those things. I can't sit here throwing out expectations if I don't do the same, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides you and inshallah blesses you with the right people, but you have to make sure that you are the right you. A lot of people tend to worry a lot about, just circumstances, relationships, they're going to end up in stuff in life. But I just feel like one of the best ways is have to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also look at who you are. Who are you? You might say, I'm strong, I have that barrier, but maybe you do break the ice. You might say, I'm strong, I have that barrier, but maybe deep down you don't. Or you might do those things that are and then it's like, at the end of the day, I feel like the best line is to remember that, like, obviously have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but look at who you are, because Allah's going to be truthful to you. Be truthful to God, God will be truthful to you, so you will get someone as such, inshallah. So that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing, each to their own. And just purify your nafs. It's best to stay away from it. Ultimately, also in my opinion, if you're not getting a good benefit out of it, wouldn't recommend going. I know that I sometimes get DMs where girls talk about, and unfortunately it's so sad because some of my audience is like 12 and they're such sweet little young girls, but not too many of them. A lot of them are just in like their 20s, so some of y'all older than me. But I sometimes get DMs and they're like, okay, so I don't know if this would be considered haram, or I don't know if this would be considered wrong. But a lot of times when you are writing it out yourself, you're in doubt, which says a lot, right? You're in doubt. You're kind of sus as it is, especially if it involves the opposite gender. It's just best to not do it. It's just best to not go. And again, like if you're not getting a good Islamic benefit out of wherever you're attending, like if it's an event at like your masajid or something, and you're learning about God, like you're actually, obviously it's a better environment, it's a protected environment, it's an environment where you're there for God, or you're learning about God, you're doing something like, we're just, something about you becoming better, about your deen, and like you learning about God, like something you're getting a good Islamic benefit out of it, like then it's up for discussion. But like if it's just, we're just hanging out, or everybody's just going together, everybody's just gonna be there, so and so, no. I wouldn't do it, and I recommend a lot of people to stop as well. I think that when you do stop, you see the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses and changes your life. A lot of people struggle with FOMO as well when it comes to these concepts, that you feel like you're missing out because everybody's there. It's, Friday night, everybody's there. It's this day, everybody's there. And I know that you might feel like you are missing out, but in actuality, you aren't. You are not missing out. If you are trying to become more modest and more better in your faith, you're not missing out if you're trying to stay away from those things that you think might make you slip, or just stay away from things that might gain the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because again, you never know what door fitna can come from, okay? This being said, a lot of haram relationships actually started off with the discussion of God and Islam and religion. So don't be fooled, okay? Each to their own, and every scenario is different. But you don't be fooled. That ice is there for a reason. And when it comes to free mixing and things like that, purify your nafs. If you struggle to purify your nafs, I know a lot of people, and I've seen this advice been given by lots of knowledgeable people before. If you struggle to purify your nafs for you and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you really desire to get married, then purify for the sake that whoever you're going to marry, be truthful to God. You know who you are. You know what type of person you are. That's the type of person, inshallah, you'll get. So have that in mind. But for me personally, like, your obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest thing. It's the biggest thing. It's the first most thing. You should try your best to be a God-fearing person. And again, I'm not saying that it's a world crisis. Again, each their own. Everybody has their own opinions on it. I'm just generally saying that if you can avoid something and it's better for you to avoid it, you should avoid it. And that is my tea on that. And I think that that's a habit that people should get comfortable with, because you're going to feel so much FOMO maybe in the beginning, but then you're going to be so grateful that you did that. Because when you are truthful to God, you let go of things for God, you set those boundaries, but also do the things that make that, you're sure that you don't have to put up that boundary in that scenario. That you're not ending up in a situation where you have to like forcefully put up that boundary or put up that barrier and you're fighting for your dear life. It just ends up better. And that's my 98 cents on that. Not my 2 cents, my 98 cents on that. The next habit that I recommend for a lot of people to try out if you have not done it already. So this is something that I'm trying to do as well. But pray the Duha prayer. A lot of people don't talk about it, and a lot of people have not actually done it before. So this is something that, inshallah, if God wills, we can all try to do. It has to be done sometime between Fajr and Dhuhr. And it's so interesting because a lot of times we see like voluntary prayers and voluntary acts being talked about on social media, which is great, right? And we see the Hajj being talked about a lot, which is really good. But then there's certain voluntary acts that a lot of people don't talk about. And I feel like the Duha prayer is one of them, because it has so many amazing virtues and rewards, and you can search them up yourself as well. And here are a few that are with hadith. You can find this on Muslim Matters. Just type in that on Google and you'll find the article. But the first one being that it fulfills charity on every joint in your body. Number 2 is the prayer of oft repentant. 3, advice from the Prophet, peace upon himself. 4, under certain conditions, the reward for praying it is equivalent to a complete Hajj and Umrah. Number 5, forgiveness of one's sins. Number 6, equivalent to Umrah in a lofty position. Number 7, Allah will suffice you. It just goes on. Number 8, a palace of gold in paradise. And it goes on. Like, there's so many amazing things, and there are hadiths for that article as well to cite it. So go on Google. Matter of fact, Queens, I will put that in my link tree. Okay, PSA, besties, I gotta tell y'all something. So when you go on my link tree, right, my link tree, just the one that's like everywhere, it's on this podcast too. This link tree, there's a section in my link tree that says resources. Click it. That will lead you to a second link that I made that is filled with like books and like calendars, like thoughtful ideas, just like other beneficial resources. I have put some very useful books there that I think might help. One of them being like letters to my Christian parents about Islam, because I know a lot of my audience is reverts. So that book is so nice, and it explains Islam in a very easy way, even if you're not doing it like for your parents, or you're somebody who's new to Islam and you just want to learn, or you're somebody who's been Muslim and you just don't know your basics. It teaches you your basics. It talks about really interesting things. It helps you understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and just understand the Quran, understand the whole situation of the revelations and whatnot. It's such a good book, and it also talks about Jesus in Islam as compared to how Jesus in Christianity might be. It just lays out everything so neatly, and it's so easy to understand. It's so adorable, and it's like little letters that are written to like somebody's parent. And then I put like some other books to like just, help, like some with like focusing in your prayer. Then there's like a calendar for like thoughtful acts to do during Ramadan. There's like a bunch of stuff there, okay? I also put like a link to my favorite Quran that has like really nice notes and stuff. I got that one, pretty sure like they sell it online too on Amazon and whatever, but I also put like a copy of it so you can see if that's like your type of thing. But it has like little footnotes which explains like the Quran ayahs as you're reading, and in the beginning of every surah it has a whole introduction to explain it, and it's so nice, it's so cute, it's beautiful, love it, hard eyes, fan, all of that above. So that, and I have like a bunch of links there. Long story short, Hira has a link in her link tree that leads you to lots of other links that are resources that I hope are useful for you, inshallah. So many links, just a link and a link on a link inside a link. When you click that link, there's a bunch of other links that lead you to more links. Okay, I don't even know, just you'll figure it out. Go on my link tree, click it, I'll lead you to another link tree, which will have a lot of other links. But inshallah, I hope you like it. I've seen some of you guys use it, and y'all tagged me on your Instagram posts, and I posted on my story. If you know, you know. It was so cute. Love seeing it. Another very, very random habit that I think might help some people. This is something that I've done for a majority of my life because of my mother. long story short, find a place in your house and clean it for just 15 minutes. It could be 30 if you want, but just put your phone away, put everything away, and just clean. It's therapy, dude. Okay, I'm kidding, but it's so therapeutic, and it honestly feels amazing. I low key, I don't like to say it out loud, but I low key do love cleaning. But when nobody's like on top of my head about it, like I know how to get it done, but don't be on top of my head about it. My mama is those moms that make you clean 4 times a day. Not joking. Like, she's been fired us like that since we were little. Like, once in the morning, once around like that forenoon time after like she might cook something, once in the afternoon, and then like obviously before bed at dinner time. Like, my mom's not those moms that are like, okay, you clean up of the whole day after dinner. No, you clean as you go. And so that's just something that I've been raised to do, right? So I find cleaning very, very low-key therapeutic. You just gotta love it. Look, you either love it or you gotta love it. Yo mama gonna make you. Mumsy's gonna make you love it regardless. So I feel like cleaning, find a corner in your room. I know your nightstand drawer. Let me start on your nightstand drawer, because I know my nightstand drawer. It gets a little out of control sometimes. Inside the nightstand drawer, where you might keep like your medicine or like something. Oh my god, I sound like somebody's grandma right now. Whatever. You might keep like your medicine or like something like that, and then, you know, it just gets a little out of pocket. Your eye drops, whatever. Sort it through, declutter that area. I promise, it's just so good for you. It's good for your little environment that you're living in. And then light a candle. Light a candle. And if it's those candles that smell like cologne and fresh laundry, yeah. You're doing it right. Or you can just light up any candle. I'm okay with any. I do have some that don't smell like cologne and fresh laundry, but like honestly, the ones that just smell like that, they just make the vibes even better, you know? So light a candle. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It does not have to be anything fancy. Light a candle, clean your room, just declutter. You don't gotta light a candle. Just declutter, clean your space. It helps with your mind. Another interesting thing I would recommend is find a bunch of random thoughtful acts to do throughout your day, or just once a day. I know that this sounds cliche, but a lot of times you will feel better helping other people. As much as you think you won't, it really does something to you. When you help people for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll notice help come your way as well. So find some small, random, thoughtful things to do for somebody, and leave it at that. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. That was what that calendar that I posted in my link to was about. It doesn't even have to be from that. It can be in general. Just find some thoughtful things to do. For example, some of the ones that were on that calendar were like, write a letter to somebody, just give somebody a card, make their day, help a stranger, or just do something thoughtful for somebody, cook somebody something, just listen to somebody talk for once, just something small, something very, very small. It doesn't have to be big. Help somebody in whatever chores they have to do, whatever it is, a small, thoughtful thing, and those things honestly accumulate and just help you feel a lot better. Another random thing that I think is I've seen help, before bed, right? Sad girl hours and sad boy hours tend to kick in, right? So before bed, have a certain dhikr routine, or just do a little bit of dhikr and then go to bed. And remind yourself that the God that you are glorifying and the God that you are, praising, hears and sees everything that you're going through. And cut sad boy, sad girl hours right then and there. So do the dhikr. The second you see sad boy, sad girl hours creeping in, but Lord knows what, right? In our life, we all have things that seem heavy to us, that seem tragedy to us, that hurt us, or things that we just feel about, right? So it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want it to consume you to the point that that's your entire world. So do some dhikr before bed. I feel like it just relaxes you and it really helps you get in the right headspace. You go to bed, wake up tomorrow, and you do great, inshallah. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to add on to that, but I think I'm good on that one. Some of these are like so impulsive and I'm just saying them as they come to my head, and some of these I kind of thought through. This other one's kind of impulsive. This is gonna feel like we're back in kindergarten, and I I'm all for that. But this is another thing that I'm very, very big on, and how I've been scheduling life recently. So I talk a lot about productivity, scheduling, and whatever in the third, and like balancing that. But personally for me, despite all the times I've talked about it, I'm honestly not that much of like an agenda or planner girly. Like, I've tried my best to become one, and like I do get it, but like the reality is, like, I just am not the person that like writes something every day for like what I have to do. I just write on a piece of paper. We just get it done. It has to get done by the end of the week or something, right? But the way that I feel like the problem is, sometimes we start to write a little too much and then we burn ourselves out, right? And then you have so many commitments, so many things you have to do. So recently I started doing this new thing on how I schedule out my paper to kind of make a little brain map and prevent myself from getting burnt out. No, this is definitely not the only key way to prevent yourself from getting burnt out, but it helps, because what we do is, when we make a to-do list, we're just like, top priority, star, highlight, gotta get that done. And I'm guilty of that. And then you do too much, and then you're burnt out, and then there's like nowhere in that list for you, right? So what I started doing is, okay, take a piece of paper, okay, make 3 lines on it. Those 3 lines are going to be top priorities. Only 3. That's it. Don't try to squish 4. Don't try to make 2 and 1 on 3. No. 3. That's it. We honestly tend to add on little things and be like, oh, that's priority 2. That's priority. No. 3 things only. 3 things. 3 things. Priority. I have to get this done. Breathe, sleep, eat, die. By the end of the week, it's got to get done. Right? That's your first 3 lines. And then you're going to make maybe 8 to 10 lines of small tasks throughout your week that you have to get done, that might help you, that might push you forth, or that you just have to get done. They're not that much priority. Literally 6 to 8. Honestly, 6 to 10 if you're like including like your own personal life stuff in that, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to go here, whatever. If we're talking like school and work related, really do not let me see you exceeding like 6. And that's guilty as charged, because I've went plus 10, okay? But try to keep it limited. Try to keep those lines limited. The thing here is this. We live our life in a way where we think that everything is urgent. We live as if the next week is urgent, this assignment is urgent, work is urgent. We live so urgently every single day, and every single day we do tasks and we do things so urgently that we forget that you are alive, you're a human being, you're living, and you have no sense of reality, because you're living in this reality of urgency, and that's not your actual reality. That's in your mind. In your mind you have this sense of urgency, that you've committed to so many things, that you're burnt out, that you have to this do, like, you are always just going, and you're so hyper independent. By the way, hyper independence, that is something that I want to make an episode on. Might do it, inshallah, coming soon, maybe. But we'll talk about it. And like micromanaging tasks, and if you struggle to like delegate tasks, baby, I'm about to come for you, because I'm about to come for myself too in that EP. But I'm thinking of recording an episode like that, inshallah. But do that, okay? And then what you're gonna do is, if you have certain things that are time bound, like you have certain meetings, just write those down at the time that you have them on the side. Then at the bottom, you're gonna make 3 to 5 lines. Honestly, preferably 7. So that way you write something for every day. This is what you are grateful for. And I'm gonna say, Hera, you sounding like my teacher in kindergarten. You know those teachers in pre-K that are like, okay guys, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, write what you're grateful for. I've perfected my teacher voice. It's been quite a few years, but your girl got it down now. Honestly, I think from teaching, you just develop it over time. But honestly, it is what it is. Write down at least 7 lines, 3 to 7. If you're somebody who has a hard time, I guess 3, but recommended 7. And then every day in the morning, because you're going to look at that list, write down something you're grateful for and be creative. I always tell people, be creative about what you're grateful for. Don't just say my family, my house, my water, my food, my bed, clean, happy. That's great. I love that. And that's something you absolutely should be grateful for, but be creative, because you have so many other blessings in your life that you're not noticing. And that is how I've been doing that. And I feel like it helps, because that way you can not get too overflowed. On the back of that page, you're going to have a little of a brain dump area where you just, whatever's floating in your mind, just write it there. Whether that's like random stuff that comes up or like little notes, whatever, just throw it there. And then, yeah, and it's so satisfying at the end of the week when it's all like checked off and done. My favorite feeling. It's so beautiful, bro. That is so, that's so out of pocket. I'm sorry. Yo, talking about out of pocket, I just remembered not everybody knows what out of pocket means, and I say out of pocket like all the time. I was one time talking to one of the girls in the Discord who lives in the Netherlands, and she was like, "What does out of pocket mean? I don't understand these words that you're just throwing out." And I was like, "Out of pocket, like like out of pocket, like that's unacceptable, like it's kind of ridiculous, like that's just I don't know, like it's not that serious, but it's just out of pocket." Then she was just like, "Girl, what?" And then one time I was talking to my mom. Oh my God. I was like, Mom, that's a little out of pocket. And she goes, what's out of pocket? And like my mom, she's not like behind on the slang or nothing. Like we keep her up to speed. We do keep her quite a little bit up to speed. She's there. She's getting there. We're working on it, right? And like she's not like too old fashioned, but she's not like all up in the she's in the middle, right? And I was like, Mom, out of pocket, like when something's just like outrageous, right? She's like, in that case, you above waistband. I was like, Mom, I was speechless. I was like, Mom, where'd you learn that? Above, first of all, she took it literally, and she goes above waistband. I was like, Mom, I'm dead. But like, she she ate me with that one, and now I use that one on her. So she'll probably come up with something new sometime soon. But it is what it is. But anyway, don't write too much on your to-do list because that is indeed out of pocket. Okay, then you bring yourself out. So don't do that. I definitely think that I dropped a lot of random things in one episode, but I hope, inshallah, that you guys liked it. This episode was so short, guys. This is so, oh my goodness, Hera not releasing 40 minutes? That is out of pocket right there. Unacceptable. I'm sorry. I think that there are a lot of good things, hopefully, inshallah, that someone can hopefully take away. I don't know. I tried. Okay, I tried. A plus for effort. I hope you guys like this episode. Please do take care of yourself. Okay, also don't exit yet. We have to tell you something, okay? Stop. I have to tell you something. Okay. Are you listening? Okay, good. So, on my Instagram, here we go. On my Instagram, I started this new series, which is basically tips for a guilt-free Ramadan, and it is like advice, tips, general reflections, stuff like that. And it's like basically like every day almost I'm gonna be uploading stuff. So I'm not saying you have to follow me, but you should, or you could just stare at it without following, right? Like you could just stare at the following, just benefit from the content, inshallah, because I've been trying to be very consistent and stay on social media during Ramadan when in actuality, low-key, I'm not feeling social media. I'm ready to just log out, but I really want to stay on and help and give dawah, and inshallah. I see so many people like just drawing closer to Islam throughout this month, so I want to try my best, inshallah, to help you guys, and yeah, inshallah, to my best degree. So you can stop listening to me now. Please take care of yourself. Have a great rest of your day. Assalamu alaikum.